We're told that Buick's new mission is furnishing aid to the underserved. Buick representatives on hand at the introductory drive event for the new Regal TourX applied the word repeatedly as they described their aim to sell vehicles in niches overlooked by other carmakers, as if the label now operates as something of a non-governmental aid organization. Who could have known that the Cascada is not just a convertible for warm weather rental fleets, but a philanthropic project? Buick's latest vehicle for social justice is thus this off-roady-looking all-wheel drive station wagon that wishes it's been a Subaru Outback. It's not. The Regal TourX has just 5.8 inches of field permission, compared with the Subaru's 8.7, so general engine applied slew of tough-looking black cladding, and so you can't miss it. This blastic likewise widens high-pitched above the wheel wells, appearing as pretentious on the TourX as it is on the similarly dressed Audi A4 Allroad or Volvo V60 Cross Country. Buick reps point to the Audi as a contestant, except that the compact A4 is almost 10 inches shorter and a whole class smaller than the mid-size, 196.3-inch Regal wagon. The Audi also is considerably more expensive, with the snob-appeal-inflated starting cost in the mid-$40,000 scope compared to merely $29,995 for the Buick, the single TourX model available at that psychologically fulfilling sub-$30,000 cost. Has cloth benches and is available in any color you crave as long as it's white, silver and black are extra cost alternatives. Opting for the mid-range preferred trim to get an influence driver's seat and an actual color palette mails the MSRP into the mid-$30,000s. And if you crave a top-of-the-line quintessence, with leather and available advanced safety equipment such as lane-keeping assistance and automated emergency braking, the cost is closer to $40,000, but a $29,995 bet is put Buick at precisely the level on the Appreciate map is striving to attract mainstream buyers, which gets at root causes of Buick's underserved gambit. Wagons woe. Buick reps spun us a tale of woe, describing the plight of station wagon proprietors whose manufacturers have abandoned the segment for deficiency of a proper replacing. These poor tribe have thus been forced to hold on to their old-time autos longer than they are willing to. We're reckoning people descending on their Buick dealers, which is now drive mid-90s vintage Honda Accord wagons with hopelessly rusted rear wheel archways and Toyota Camry wagons from the same epoch with rear suspensions that have collapsed, probably from the weight of that extra rear wiper. Perhaps trade-ins would include even a few Saab Sport Combis or Chevrolet Malibu Maxxes as well. We're not sure we buy into this any more than we reckon a scenario in which Buick steals customers from Audi, yet the world's largest level is still valid. The Regal TourX sits squarely between traditional European luxury wagons such as the Allroad and the aforementioned and more affordable Outback, which opens at merely $26,810. The TourX is powered by GM's familiar turbocharged 2.0-liter inline 4, and locomotive that appears in a number of GM products, including the current Malibu. The Malibu shares its architecture with the Europe market Opel Insignia, which is the basis for the TourX and the new Regal Sportback. Here the Turbo 4 shapes 250 horsepower and 295 pounds-feet of torque, fed through an 8-speed automatic transmission that can be manually changed. On article, this powertrain combination looks great, far outpacing Subaru's anemic naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4 and even likening favorably to its available 6-cylinder Simulate, which also is a near -$40K proposition. And of course, both sets of Outback's engines are saddled with endlessly variable automatic transmission. In the real world, nonetheless, the TourX experience is sluggish, with a sleepy throttle calibration that requires pushing past mid-pedal apoplexy to wake up the turbocharger. Combine this with a transmission that shifting languidly, preferring to stay in a high gear and lug the engine, and it's easy to verify why the sign-sourced gearbox is already slated for replacing at an unspecified future date with a GM-developed 9-speed unit. Buick induced the same move in the LaCrosse sedan this year. The TourX and LaCrosse have other similarities, such as firm and responsive brake pedals and a sophisticated all-wheel drive system, which is criterion on the wagon. Buick employs two electronically controlled clutches at the back, an arrangement that allows a single back wheel with traction to move the vehicle even if the other three wheels are spinning. This is particularly useful in icy circumstances and is in keeping with the specific characteristics of the TourX, in which all-wheel drive is intended more for conquering inclement climate than off-road roads. Our suffer at the drive event in Sedona, Arizona, showed its soft suspension was capable of handling gravel streets at the least as well as, say, a Toyota Camry. We mentioned the Camry not because it got the same field permission as the TourX, and not because it's the best-selling auto in the United States, but because it represents what is perhaps the greatest objection to Buick. Most mainstream brands give all that is near luxury or premium ones do. Long-distance comfort. The interior of the TourX is a nice enough region, roommate and quiet and primarily pleasant save for the cramped middle rear seat. The front seats seem like Saab leftovers, comfortable yet firm and ideal for the kinds of long highway plodded the TourX seems best suited for. Its flair is topped with a 7.0 or 8.0-inch touchscreen, with plastic designed to look like leather or at least less hard plastic, and trimmed with requisite fake timber and shiny chips. Yet the TourX cabin is not really any nicer than that of a high-zoot Camry. Even in our exam auto, which was a fully loaded Essence trim, at over $40,000, this wagon still had its cargo area lined with the sort of inexpensive carpet that is more appropriate for a rental car stem, and its beige hue didn't prohibit it from being readily grimed by the first tonneau of suitcases we stowed. Still, the wagon's cargo hold is where the TourX better exonerates itself. It is shared differently than in an Outback, with 33 cubic paws behind the back benches, 3 cubic paws fewer than the Subaru, or 74 cubic paws to those used benches folded 1 cubic paw more than the Outback. The folding seats split 60-40 in the base and preferred trims but 40/20/40 in the Essence, like almost perfectly flat, shaping it easier to load large items. For the mountain bike or kayaking crowd that doesn't need the Outback's ground clearance, the low-pitched high levels of the roof-mounted rack is as much a selling level as the TourX's available hands-free influence liftgate. For those who want a bigger wagon rather than a crossover to haul their life's lusts or detritus, the TourX is a greeting option and a reminder that sometimes it's okay for sporty to describe what you intend to do with auto, rather than the car itself. The question that simply next year's sales numbers can answer is whether there is a market for this almost luxury, almost off-road station wagon at an almost affordable cost. If our experience in Sedona were to solely inform our responses, we'd have to respond in the affirmative. That region is crowding with both mountain bikers and old-time people driving gradually. The Regal TourX seems designed to appeal to both. Buick, for my own part, already is revising its sales approximates upward for the TourX.